We're back, Seven Rivers Racing, KQEG TV. I'm Dan Dyker along with Al Losi. You notice I'm wearing the different apparel today. I lost 2 tires off the front of my shirt this morning when I was dressing myself.
That's fine, Dan, because we do have somebody else here wearing another Fans Arena.
Well, I could have worn his shirt. We're going to talk to our guest here in just a minute, Sportsman driver Joe Rinzarts. First, the ASA Midwest Tour got the 4th annual Sheer Classic in last weekend at Madison International Speedway. Andrew Morrissey broke his winless streak in the ASAMT as he cruised on to a win, and quite the star-studded Tour Series top 5. Skylar Holzhausen, Nick Panitsky, Chris Weinkoff, and Nathan Hazelai rounded out the top 5 in a very exciting race down in Madison. Notable finishers, Tim Schendel took 14th. Now, we told you last year there's a kid named Matt Tift that is kind of a driver for diversity program with Schendel this year, whether it's nationwide or whether it's local racing in the state of Wisconsin. Tift ended up taking 19th at a track that he'd never been to before, but he's also going to be running a full season going for Rookie of the Year. What a blistering pace was set for the qualifications in a race. Chris Wimmer set a new track record with a 17.245 out of 33 qualifiers. Understand that the record was broken twice before Wimmer went out there, and Wimmer just laid it down and shattered that track record. I think it had been held since 2004, so one that had stood for about 8 years. State Park Speedway is the State Park 125 this coming weekend. That's where you'll find the ASA Midwest Tour stars. Rookie of the Year points, Ty Majeski, Jason Weinkoff, Cardell Potter, Matt Tift, Jeff Holtz, and Elston Ludke round out the top 6. Championship points after the very first championship points race. Andrew Morrissey, Skylar Holzhausen, Nick Panitsky, Chris Wimmer, and Anthony Hazelai. It's because they finished in the top 5, so of course it's going to be the top 5 in points. The rest of the top 10 is Jeff Chiquette, Chris Weinkoff, Jonathan Eileen, Dan Fredrickson, and Boris Yurkovic. You might remember Fredrickson had a bad crash during the ASA Oktoberfest race last year. Ended up hopping into an ASA Sportsman truck and just obliterated the field.
Yes.
And went out for the win there. You remember that one?
I do. Dan has been around racing for so long. He has won a lot of races in the Midwest. And there again, that track was super fast. The air mass over the state of Wisconsin has so much to do with how fast cars will be on the racetrack, and the temperature and the humidity was just right for a lot of the tracks to have some fast times all over the place, and Madison was one of them.
ASAMidwestTour.com there for more information. Talking about those speeds and the conditions, track motor Chuck Deary had came up to me just before we got into the racing on Saturday night after Todd Korsch laid down a 19.723, I think it was, and he was only about a half a second away from the track record that Herbst put down. Those conditions were just perfect. Yep. To talk more about that and his racing season, we bring in the driver, the number, I knew I was going to forget the number now. Holy cow, 65. How about Rinzarts Motorsports of Joe Rinzarts?
Hey, Joe.
Thanks for coming in, big guy.
Nice to guys.
I don't know why I just kind of brain farted on that one right there.
You always have that stuff when it goes on like
it's
that.
It's that aura that you just send off.
Yeah.
How you been?
Pretty good.
Good seeing you back in. Joe, one of the favorites on the TV program, which you can also check out on Facebook at Seven Rivers Racing. You can also find it on YouTube at youtube.com/7riversracing. Joe's been behind the wheel of 65. How many years now, lacrosse?
Well, it's probably been about 15 years, more, a little bit more. I started out when I was, when Larry Ware's on the track, I was with Street Stocks, and I ran from there since, and I probably took off 2 years out of the whole thing, then I went back racing, and it's in your blood, you can't get it out.
That's true.
Joe was one of the drivers last year that if there could have been more of a hard luck kind of an award that I could have given personally, Joe hands down on any driver at that track, no matter where they were coming from, would have gotten. You dealt with a lot of adversity last year. You had a brand new motor, you brought on a new sponsor out of Eau Claire, and the season's running right, and something that you hate to see in general, which really hits your entire race team and family. You lost one of your family members, one of your pit members, I should say.
Yeah, we did. It was hard.
Of course, he's being replicated inside the car this year. Joe's got some pictures down there that you can check out, and it's always tough when you've got a racing family. I mean, and Rinzarts has a very tight, close family. Whether it's in the pits, it's the same people every year in and out.
Right.
I know her his mom and dad said, because she's still going to be the cheeseburger queen. I'm going to get her a cheeseburger trophy this year. Hopefully she's not going to watch the program. She's going to get a cheeseburger trophy this year.
Yeah, You know, that's what she is. She likes the cheeseburgers there.
Well, and I start the night with a triple cheese. Maybe I introduce her to one of mine.
Now, are they $1 this weekend?
No, that's next week.
No, that's Buck Night's coming up next weekend. Get the Outlaws coming back out too. The season so far, second year with a new motor. Are you used to it now?
Yeah, this motor I had last year was we blew it up at Fest.
I remember that.
It was pretty well gone. Gary Baxter does my engines out of Eau Claire. I mean, he told me, he says, motor was gone. He says, so we'll build you a whole new one. And I can't, his motors are awesome.
Right.
I mean, I'm the only one. I mean, he builds them, man. He builds them good, and they're fast.
They are. You picked up so much speed
Really
down
fast.
straightaway speed.
Yep.
You were just a lot faster. Then that makes it more difficult to set the car up for the corners, because that's what where you win positions.
Yeah. I mean, this car is fast. I mean, the car I had last year, we looked over in the wintertime, and I looked at my pit crew chief, and he says, this car is no good. We got to do something else. So we got a whole new car, and when we got the car, I've never been in the car since last weekend. We took third, and then this weekend we took first. But it was very first time over the wintertime putting this car together. I mean, we battled a long winter to get this thing back together.
Now, this past weekend, you had some problems in qualifications. I think you did one lap and then had to bow out, and then came back and won the heat race. What was going on there?
Well, we put a distributor cap on because it was hesitating, and then we put it on, and one of the wires got pinched between the distributor cap. So I went out to shift, and the car shut right down. So that's why we brought it in, and we weren't getting no spark, wasn't firing. And then the guys down there, I was still in the car, they pulled the cap off, and here was one of the wires pinched between the metal and the cap. So they fixed that, and she fired back up. We only got one lap. I mean, one lap was all right, but I would rather have two.
And you got to admit, Troy Rayev back out in the Sportsman, first time since 2007, powering Jonathan Eckelberg's car. He made you earn that win. He was coming.
Yeah, he merely made me earn that win. I mean, that was a very, very fun race. I mean, I liked it, and I didn't figure he was coming all the way from the back to catch me. And I mean, I seen him come times on my right side and going in the corner. I mean, he come into me, but then I just go by him. I mean, it was close race at the finish line, man. I mean, people say it was really, really close at the finish line.
Oh, it was. It was one of those where they couldn't even post them on the scoreboards. I had to go to the fans to determine before the officials actually let us know who did what. Our guest in the program drives the number 65 Reinhardt Motorsports Sportsmen at the Crosse Speedway. You'll see him back out again this weekend. When we come back, we're going to talk to Joe about a very unique name that's on his car this year. I'm not going to let you slide out of the program unless it's addressed. ASA truck drivers making me talk about this. That was pointed out in his car this year.
Yes, you don't want to miss this.
And we've got a special guest we're going to bring in the program when we come back from this quick break. Seven Rivers Racing on KQEG TV.